I hope everyone's been enjoying the music so far. We'll be back to it soon, but first, we get a chance to sit down with Todd Adams and Angie Sutliff themselves. How are you guys feeling tonight?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well myself. It's great hearing you, play here in the studio. You guys sound amazing.
Thank you.
So I did most of the introducing for you guys already, but would you guys want to quick introduce yourselves for the crowd?
Sure. I'm Angie Sutliff. I'm from Menominee, and I've been playing music and playing the cello for a long time, and so it's enjoyable to me to be able to accompany Todd and other musicians in the area, and have had lots of opportunities to do so. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. And Todd?
I'm Todd Adams. I'm been in the Chippewa Valley for like 25 years, and just been playing, writing my own songs for maybe, I don't know, 8, something like that. So doing a lot of that, and it's really great playing with Angie. It just kind of brings a whole new dimension of what I'm doing. So
Nice. Were you a solo performer before that?
yeah, actually I played in church some and done some solo things and different kind of duos and this and that here and there. It's like not very often and not very regularly, but for a while.
So how often have you been playing with, or how long, I guess, have you been playing with Angie?
It's been maybe 2 years, something like that.
Maybe almost 3?
Yeah, maybe pushing 3. It's like came out of the tail end of the pandemic and all that kind of thing, and she started to, she joined me for a recording project that didn't come to fruition but is now being revisited, so that should be out sometime, hopefully this summer.
Nice.
And then we just started doing some live shows, and I think it's worked out really well.
Okay. Angie, is cello your primary instrument?
It is.
Okay. Were you classically trained?
I was, yep. I played violin as a real little girl, piano. I did play trumpet.
Nice.
I know you're a trumpet player. And played piano, played cello. That's the one that really, I feel like, speaks for me, is my voice. So I really enjoy playing.
That's fair. Yeah, cello is I do love cello. It's got a great, this is going to be a hefty word, but sonorous.
Yes.
Very much.
It is
It's
very
a great
sonorous.
instrument. Yeah, and I hadn't really thought of a guitar-cello duo before, but it comes together well.
Yeah, it seemed to work. It's like I heard some records by like Nick Drake and some different people through the years where they did some work with cellos, and I've always wanted to play with a cello, and I never thought I'd be able to do it because cello players, I figured, were a little beyond my league, but it worked out. Everything's been very, very fun.
Yeah. Is Angie the first cello player you've collaborated with?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Angie, have you collaborated with guitarists before Todd?
Yeah, I did play with another guitarist in town. I've also done a lot of a worship team at church, so a lot of different guitars and various instruments together as a group. I also collaborate with a harpist in town, so
Nice.
a lot of different fun activities. Yeah,
Harp cello duo that's got to be fun.
it is.
So you've been playing. You said you've played violin since you were a little girl. Todd, how long have you been playing, whether guitar or just any instrument, really?
Yeah, probably. I started probably around 30 years ago, but not very regularly. It's like just had a friend of mine show me some chords, and I was too busy working and raising kids and all that kind of thing, and then just I started playing at church probably 20 years ago or so, and then just moved on to different things from there, and just tried to stick with it and practice.
Solid. So more on the songwriting side of things. All the songs that you've played so far have been originals by yourself.
Yeah, everything except for that last Julie Miller song, the last
Right.
song thing.
That was the cover. Do you have a set process that you use when you're do you ever sit down to write a song, or do you just take inspiration from things
Yeah, I don't really. It's hard for me to sit down and just force myself to write a song. Usually there's something that triggers a phrase or a concept or something like that as I'm going through day-to-day life, and then sometimes something will work its way out and I'll write down a few lines and then get back to it at some point, try to finish it up. Sometimes it goes easy, sometimes it never gets completed.
That's fair. Would you find the lyrical side of it, the lyrical writing, or the musical side of it to come to you easier?
Well, the thing is, most of my guitar playing is pretty rudimentary. It's I really like having Angie contribute, and it really adds a lot to what the sound is. But I'm definitely very focused on the words. I've always been a real lyrically oriented person that way, you know, just like to develop different concepts, find ways to say things that aren't super blatant or whatever, you know, use a little innuendo, a little kind of
inject some subtlety in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Nick Drake way for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Angie, do you write your own cello lines for his songs then?
I do. And so my process for that is maybe he'll send me, or anyone that I do collaborate with will send me some of their music. I just spend a good amount of time listening to it and just kind of thinking that through. And next thing you know, you can kind of hum a line, you know, probably like anyone does with a song on the radio. You can kind of think, oh, okay, I think I could play this. And so it's pretty time consuming, and then just kind of writing those out and working them in. But it's really enjoyable to me, and it's a very creative process because I am classically trained, and my primary musical work is playing with the Red Cedar Symphony in Rice Lake.
Okay.
And so that is wonderful, and you're reading music and you're playing what's on the page, but this is a totally different aspect.
I'd imagine. I mean, you probably don't do much of your own writing in that orchestra.
Right, not at all.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's come easier to you?
It was so hard at first.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking as someone who doesn't know really anything about cello, yeah, it's got to come down to the way the instrument plays, for sure. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd imagine writing for cello would be different than writing for guitar, for example.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, Angie puts a lot of time into coming up with the parts that she has for the songs that I've written, and I really appreciate all the effort that she puts in, because I know it's not easy. But I like the fact that she comes from that classical background, because it kind of adds sort of a different dimension, like that one song that we did, The World Keeps Spinning. You know, when I talked to her about the cello part, she's like, oh yeah, I envisioned, like, you know, sort of the leaves swirling and this kind of thing, you know, taking it from the way that classical musicians try to express the things that they see in nature.
No, it's always fun to see people from like different backgrounds, you know, playing together, because then you have that kind of meshing of influences that wouldn't really meet each other otherwise. Yeah. That's something that I really like about this. Yeah. Would you say you write, well, have you done much writing of new material since you've started playing with Angie?
Yeah, I have. She actually came on board. I had a bunch of stuff I was starting to record, and she agreed to be a part of that. And then we kind of started doing some live shows. And then as we did the live shows, I think some of the songs started to develop more, you know. And so I kind of put the recording that we were doing on hold, and it's been nice just kind of doing some live shows and kind of getting used to each other and the way that we can kind of play off each other and stuff too. So I'm really looking forward to the recording that we'll have coming out.
That's fair. What kind of places do you normally play at?
Well, we played a few places around town on Bibulus Brewing in Altoona, Two Roots Gallery downtown. We played at Bethlehem Church opening for Mitch McVicker. We've played at Vino Cappuccino, and then also at Utopian Acres, had a show out there, which will probably happen again this summer.
Okay. Yeah, all kinds. That's nice to see. So I touched on influences a little bit already, but for example, Todd, as a songwriter, do you have lyrical influences that you draw from for your writing, or is that mostly from yourself?
Yeah, it's, I mean, I've been listening to music seriously for a long, long time, and I'm a big fan of like singer-songwriters like Townes Van Zandt and Joe Ely and Guy Clark and people like that. But I really like, you know, like the Replacements and Husker Du and the Ramones and, you know, all that kind of thing. And there's a way that all of that can blend together in different ways, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to listen for some Husker Du influences once we get back to that. Yeah. So, Angie, for your own playing, do you have like musical influences that you draw from?
It's, you know, there is more cello being played in music than there used to be. You know, maybe
That's
in like
fair.
pop culture music.
Yeah.
And so you can hear a little bit more of that, and so that's helpful to kind of get an idea of, oh yeah, how, especially when I was starting out, how do you do this?
Right.
And just kind of listening for that in the background, and usually you have to listen pretty hard because it's, you know, usually not very prominent.
Right.
And so just kind of listening to wherever I could for that. But otherwise, no, I just draw from maybe experiences with that or something that I can just hear in my head.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we'll get to my favorite part of the show, which is where I give the floor to you to plug any upcoming performances, projects, social media, anything that you want the world to know. You have the spotlight here.
Sounds good. Well, I guess I'm Todd Adams, and I'd be on Facebook under Todd Adams. I don't really have any shows going on right now. We're doing some recording. I'm doing my parts, and then Angie will join in on that, and hope to have that out sometime, maybe in the summer, so kind of watch for that.
Nice.
Yep. And for me, I'm playing at the Finnish Bistro in St. Paul on May 18th. It's a brunch show. It's from 10:30 to 12:30, and that'll be with the harpist. But otherwise, yeah, just working on various projects, and I can be found on Facebook under Angie Sutliff. So.
Sounds good. Yeah. I hope everyone's marked their calendars. Well, with that, thank you for sitting down and talking about it. It's been enlightening, and it's been great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for being on here. And for everyone else at home, don't touch that dial, because it's right back to the music after this.